Welcome back my gardening friends. It's Saturday the 27th, I think, 6:30 in the morning. We're due some rain around about 10-11 o'clock, so I need to get my 3 hours in very quickly and share what I've done this week and the jobs that need doing. So I've managed to get the water pipes in. These are buried probably 12 inches. So the water that we pour down the pipe is blocked at the bottom. So when I fill it, I know that I've given it exactly the amount of water that I feel it needs, depending on the weather. And the water was down to the bottom. So the roots go down. The roots will go down and then find all those lovely goodies that I've left them when I prepared these beds. So that's the giant beetroot sorted for now. And I've continued to keep an eye on the weeds on the first batch of carrots, and I think I've seen one. Is it there? Where's my finger? Look, it's only baby. Have I got it? Yes. Oh, I've dropped it, but it'll die off. I pick them even when they're very small. There's no good waiting until they overtake the carrots. That's how I like to do my weeding, especially when we've got things growing. I managed to get another lot of horse manure, and I'll keep it covered with a cardboard just to keep the worms happy. And I've been continually checking the strawberry flowers to make sure we've got no blackheads, and I've been quite lucky this time. I haven't seen any at all. Oh gosh, look at that, those dreaded thistles. Oh, bugger. Broke it off. It was on the floor. So that's the last hinge I changed about 2 years ago. And now I've changed that hinge there and that one there. Trouble is, it's in a place where you can't oil them and eventually they just break. But that's another good job done. Put some extra screws in there. I shall leave the holes so the rats can get in and out as they want. They do too much damage if you try and stop them completely. And I've had some grass off one of my neighbours. He doesn't treat his grass with anything, so these grass clippings are safe to put in the compost bin. We don't want any that have had the weed and feed and moss killer. We don't want that going in our compost bins. I don't have any grass myself, so that little bit every couple of weeks just helps keep the worm bin warm and the worms happy. During one of the storms, the screws, they're only very small screws, so I've put extra long screws in now, so that gate is now secure, but I still need to get some netting on there. Be a job for another day. We'll let the birds go in and out at the moment, but massive improvement in there with a lot of the fruit bushes. In a half hour I'd got spare in the evening. I've took all the hoops down. I need to take the battens off this now to remove the netting, and I can then re-erect those hoops where the compost bins are once we get those emptied. I put one of my extra large street lamp covers over the potatoes while we had the frosts this week. I see the walking onions are just started to form those heads where those little shallots grow. They drop down and then reseed themselves. Well, not reseed, they actually fix themselves to the ground and they walk along the ground each year. Nick the gardener, Hendrick's Snow organic peas are doing nicely, and some of them are late starters. Bill and Val's pongos, they're all up and don't seem to be affected by the frosts we had. And I was going to say we've got one there that probably hasn't germinated, but there you go, look. So always don't give up on your plants. I have planted some extra peas here because the old peas didn't germinate. I'm sure they weren't taken by the mice because there wasn't any signs. The ground was not disturbed. I brought the potatoes out. These are the potatoes that I haven't harvested from 2023. They're started to grow. Here's my new potatoes in different stages because I stacked them on top of one another. They don't like it. Look at the difference. So don't stack your potatoes on top of one another thinking, oh, they're not going to grow yet. They will. So these are outside to have a little drop of rain and while it warms up slightly. And the ones that are still inside, they've been crushed and sat on top of. We'll let them get going a little bit, and if I need them potatoes, we can grab some. Here are the tomatoes that we were the leggy tomatoes. They were about 3 foot long, and we absolutely wrapped them up, folded them over, and some of them have gone. Some of them that I snapped haven't, but we'll let them be. It looks like the frost has caught that one just a little bit, but they would have gone in the compost bin if they hadn't have if I hadn't have done what I've done. And it looks like we've got one of the tomatoes growing there, and what we're looking for is some mega blooms. I'll take those off because we want to try and grow a giant tomato, and the celery is desperate to get out. Some of it's getting pot bound, and that isn't good when you're trying to grow a giant one. But hopefully after this rain this weekend I can get in and pop them in the ground. And I've bought some of my bright lights, the chard. We've got some bull's blood beetroot. You pick the leaves on those, and then we have the which chard is that? That's the rainbow. So I'm just going to do some rows like that, and then we can harvest the leaves while they're nice and young. But the main thing that I wanted to share, I started this job. Sometimes I start and like to finish, but if I've got something to share, then I will do. Now, you can probably see that root there, very healthy. This is the sprouting, claret sprouting broccoli. Did an excellent job. Pigeons have had a bash at that. But that's a nice healthy one. I've had my axe out and I've been bashing it and splitting it so that the worms can get inside and break it down. But if you don't know what clubroot looks like, it gets little nodules on the roots. They swell up, and that stops the root from drawing up all the energy. It'll reach one of these nodes here and it can't live, and nearly all of them have got damage at the bottom there. Look, we pull these out, we try and take as much soil from where the root ball was, and we dispose of those. That can go to the municipal green waste site where it gets heated up, and anybody that buys that compost will get that back eventually, hopefully clubroot free. I thought this one here was free of it, but there's just one node there, look. So we don't really want that to rot off in the ground. So if you pull yours out, then don't compost them. If you find some that are clean and free, chop the roots off that. I'll leave that in the compost bin, especially that one there. So I'm going to get my axe and we'll do a bit of bashing and get this into the compost bin that we've just seen. You're probably thinking, why is that fool using that big axe when he could use a little axe? Well, I did use my little axe. I haven't broken it. I've just hidden it somewhere on my allotments, so none of the scroats can find it and pinch it. And yes, I can't remember where I've put it. Many of you have probably found solid stalks that we put in the compost bin. Some people say shred them, etc. But if you give them a bit of a bash, I've found that it helps. Worms are good, but they're not that good if you don't give them a bit of a hand. So I'm going to clear this bed up now, and then we'll start on the other bed that you can probably just see to the right of you. I'll just step you back a little bit. Now, if you have got clubroot, you can use lime to help in the planting hole. Some allotment sites won't allow you to buy brassicas and bring them in because of the risks of bringing clubroot in, especially if you're clubroot free. So again, you need to plant the lime there. That the clubroot just doesn't, the spores just don't like lime, like anybody really. Picked all the weeds out. Just going to give it a tickle now. That will bring some more weed seeds to the surface. The odd stone. But it's a risk we'll have to take because we'll be putting the compost material in here anyway, and that'll be full of weeds. Just give it a tickle with the fingers. And that's 2 good trugs of material to add to the compost bin. We'll move on to the next bed. So this is where the claret sprouting was. Let's disassemble the net. I don't really walking all over it like a lazy gardener. So let's get that detached. That I am. Now, if I wasn't filming for YouTube, I'd probably dragged that net, scrumpled it up and chucked it in a corner. And just going back to hiding tools, what have you hidden on your allotment and never been able to find? Or you didn't find it till later? Pop it in the comments. Definitely one of the things that are really good about Nodig. Yes, these weeds have just got a little bit out of hand, but because we just add materials to the surface, the worms can keep doing their work, bringing those castings to the surface, taking the materials down that we add and bringing them back up the decent materials. Yes, we get weeds and all sorts, but if you can get those weeds out early, not so much like these. A lot of these are volunteer poppies by the look of it. We're getting this stuff out as well before it actually flowers, but it seems to come from other plots. Don't like it to get into this state, but I certainly don't mind weeding, and I do chuck handfuls of compost in as well. That's how I cheat a little bit when I say, look at my compost, it's beautiful. But you can't just keep adding stuff in. Worms need some of this material. They need the microorganisms that are in the actual soil to get the old compost heap going anyway. Let's get that finished off, and there's the volunteer chard. I've never planted it there, but this is where the old compost bin was. I don't know whether it's come out a bit of bird poop, but I've been taking a few leaves off that just recently. Now I've found it again. Well, we're now 50 minutes in and 15 minutes on the video. So we've got this bed, that bed there, and the one over there ready now to receive anything that we get from here. I've got to plant my potatoes with the material that we get from this, and also there'll be material here, so we'll spread it out accordingly. But I've achieved a lot in 50 minutes so far this morning. And this bed of salad spicy mix leaves will enjoy the rain that we get today, so let's get these in as well. I need to pull the weeds out individually so I don't get too much surface disturbance. And that way we won't bring any weed seeds to the surface unnecessarily. You might think it's over the top, but that will stop the weed seeds coming up. And just imagine Mrs. K's face when I come towards her with a toothbrush and say, right, I'm going to give you a bed bath and get into every crevice. But you've got to do the job good first time. So all I've got to do now is put my little signs in. As you can see there, that's the one from the claret sprouting. It's had several layers of the yellow tape. Sorry, Andermatt. Start off with a Correx board that you might be able to get hold of some description. Recycle them, give them an extra life, and cut them into a reasonable size. And then the marker pens which don't fade away, it's the Edding 750 paint marker. It's one of those where you have to sort of press the nib up and, where are we, come on, press the nib up and down to get the ink to flow down. And then we can add, can't spell guys, as you probably know. So I have to copy. So we've got the bright lights there. Bull's blood, beetroot. Beets. Just pick the leaves on those, and then we've got rainbow. Now when those labels, I've finished with them, I'm not growing that variety again, I can then just peel so much tape off, pop it over the old one, flatten it out, doobly-doo-dah, and we can go again and just put it over the top. But some of the plastic is degrading and leaving bits of plastic everywhere, so I've decided to start fresh. I've given those old labels an extra life. It takes me about 3 minutes to get to my allotment, and bringing plants up in the barrow is a nightmare, especially in pots. They don't sit in very well. So before you cut your Correx board up, or your piece of plyboard, stick it on top of the barrow, load all your plants on there on a non-windy day, and potter off up to your growing spaces. I'd just like to thank everyone for dropping by my channel. When I first started, there was probably about 20 or 30 gardening channels, and now everybody's at it. So thank you for paying me a visit. I hope you enjoy what I do and what I share. Always leave me a comment on whatever you like. Just something that we did this week that I forgot all about. I planted my alpine strawberries in this Vegega raised bed. The links for that are in the description below. And one look at the compost bin now. You might say, wow, bah, gum, it's nearly full, it's only spring. That will sink down no end and the juices will run out. We'll spread those juices on here, and then we'll start spreading the juices on the wood chips to help break those down. And there's a few surplus in there. And I also forgot, I've also weeded this ready to accept the tomatoes. If you'd like the content, please give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down for the interaction. Sneak up on the fish. Leave me a comment, give those comments a thumbs up, join in with those comments, and why not consider subscribing. I do appreciate all of your support. And yes, I do repeat myself, but I do get around about 100 plus subscribers each month that probably think I'm a complete nutter. Happy gardening to you all. Till next time, my friends. Ta-ra for now. And don't forget the end screens. You won't get bored. It'll certainly put you to sleep.